93, 93, 93. This is Amon Asharenew from asharenew.com. Now, going to this next article, Biden tests positive for COVID-19 again. The vaccinated and boosted president suffered a rebound infection, his physician said. So basically, for those who have been paying attention, Biden had already caught COVID previously. And he was supposed to have beaten it because he was testing negative all the way up to this point. And now he has tested positive again. This once again is due to the Jupiter retrograde because of the double negative effect of Pisces. Jupiter and Neptune are both retrograde. So they are both stimulating the karmic forces of Pisces. And of course, Neptune is the planet of disease. So that's why we have people catching COVID even though they have been vaccinated, even though they have their boosters. The astrological forces are just tearing right through all of that so-called protection. So the article says U.S. President Joe Biden tested positive for COVID-19 on Saturday morning after apparently recovering from the virus and testing negative on Tuesday. So he had caught COVID and he had it for about 5 days because he was isolated in the White House for 5 days when he caught it initially. So he had been in isolation all the way up till Tuesday. Well, he was in isolation for about 5 days. Then once he began to test negative, he was initiated outside of isolation. Now he's going right back into isolation. So basically on Tuesday, that was the first time he tested negative. So he was able to get back around people. So come Saturday, he has to go right back into isolation. So now we have the U.S. president going into isolation. And we know isolation is directly connected to Pisces. The 12th house represents isolation. This is how we know this is directly coming from the constellation of Pisces, the fish, which is the symbol of the Christ. So what we are seeing here is just like the last video I was speaking about the flooding. So not only do we have floods occurring in Kentucky, now Biden catches COVID again. And I'm sure this is just the mainstream. I'm sure there's so many other people that's not being reported, that's having breakthrough cases because the energy of Pisces is just cutting through all this. Because it does not matter what type of vaccine a person takes. It doesn't matter what type of pill a person takes. It doesn't matter what type of protection you feel you have. Everyone must deal with their karma. And unfortunately, Joe Biden has a lot of karma due to what he has done in his career as being a politician. As we know with the 3 strikes bill, and now he's passing all these bills. Now the Build Back Better, all these bills have led us into inflation in a place that we really don't want to be. Now he's dealing with that karma because now he has been forced into isolation. So now he can't be amongst the public. He can't take meetings and all that with people because, he could potentially spread it. So now he has to be away. Now he has to go into, you can say, the dungeons for whoever knows how long this is going to last. It may last a couple days. It may last a week. Irregardless of how long it lasts, the fact that this is happening to the highest chambers is directly because of Jupiter, because Jupiter rules over politicians, because Jupiter rules over law. Jupiter is the planet of law. So all the lawmakers, all the people that's famous and all that is directly connected to Jupiter. So once again, because Jupiter has entered retrograde, this is why we're seeing people that are lawmakers having these breakthrough cases. So we had the astrology to back it up, and this is why it is important to pay attention to what is occurring in the sky. So once again, not only do we have Jupiter in retrograde, Neptune is in retrograde, and Neptune is a planet of disease anyway. So now when you put these two factors together, Jupiter ruling over lawmakers and Neptune being the planet of disease penetrating through to lawmakers. And this is why we see things like this occurring. So it is never by coincidence. Even though astrology is a symbolic language, if you are able to decode the symbolic language, you can pretty much tell what's going on the world stage. And that's why we have a whole school of astrology called political astrology, otherwise known as mundane astrology. See, most people are into like the personal astrology, what's going on in their particular chart or the people they know. But we can also utilize astrology for political reasons and what is going on the world stage. And this is essentially what I am evolving to, right? Because, I could have been doing these things, but I was more concerned with like the personal astrology. But when we begin to analyze these happenings on the world stage, we see that everything is being reflected in accordance to the stars. And we know that because that's the second universal law, the law of correspondence, as above, so below. So because we have all these events occurring and the constellations influencing the planets, and it trickles down to the politicians, to those in power. So you're going to actually see celebrities. Don't be surprised if you see celebrities getting breakthrough COVID cases during the time of this Jupiter retrograde, which again will last till November 24th. So between now and November 24th, especially when Jupiter goes into Pisces, because Jupiter is currently in Aries. But because Jupiter is moving backwards, Jupiter will eventually go into Pisces. So soon as Jupiter hits Pisces, which will happen later down the line, we will begin to see more and more of these cases. So once again, I'm just bringing this to everybody's awareness, to add the astrological perspective into all this, because you see the news and the media, they're going to report it and they're going to keep it on a mundane level. But once we connect it with the astrology and once we connect it with the occult, now we are able to see the cause of the effects. All the media can do is show you the effects. Now we are looking at the cause of the effects. And the more we understand about the cause of the effects, the more we realize that, this isn't happening because a person is living a certain type of lifestyle or they did something right or they did something wrong. We all must deal with our karma. And the last thing a 79-year-old man wants is to be sick. Because we know as we age, the immune system is not as powerful as it was, when you were younger. People, elders can die from colds if their immune system is not up to par. So of course, because this is a president, of course he's going to be surrounded by the best doctors, and he's going to be able to get treatments that the average person cannot. And that's why, yes, this is what's happening with Joe Biden. But for the people who cannot gain access to all these high tech and these high level doctors and pills and medicines, they're going to be out of luck. So expect, celebrities and people that are in power, the lawmakers, to pay a lot of money to be able to maintain their health. And again, that's just the manifestation of karma. So I have a couple of other stories to cover. And again, I'm just going to separate these videos so that way I'm not making one super long live stream. We'll be able to deal with these things on an individual basis. So with that, I bear peace. 93, 93, 93.